Welcome, everybody. It is 7 o'clock on a Wednesday, and that means it's time for Sci-Fi Distilled. I'd like to welcome my usual co-host, Mary Beth, and returning once again is Kent Schimdt. And
Hi, guys.
You guys, who are you going to call?
Ghostbusters.
Right, we're doing Ghostbusters, in case you didn't figure that
All right,
out.
let me pull up the comments, which means you're going to hear us talking for a second.
We're kicking off our October Halloween month with the classic 1984 Ghostbusters, starring Bill Murray, Rick Moranis, Dan Aykroyd,
Sigourney Weaver, Harold Ramis, Dan Aykroyd, and Rick, and you got Rick Moranis
and Egon there,
and Harold Ramis.
Harold Ramis, right? So, which was actually written by Dan Aykroyd and I believe Bill Murray.
No, it was written by Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis.
Harold Ramis. You're right.
But probably actually, Bill Murray, mostly Dan Aykroyd, because a lot of the references, like they say in the original script, because you guys all know that Dan Aykroyd's like really into the occult, like he's into it. He's into ghosts for real, like in his real life. And a lot of his references and stuff he was mentioning in the original scripts were spot on, like they were like real things that happened and very accurate. Of course, they had
Spirit Guide is a real thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I have no doubt about that.
But then they had to take stuff out and say, okay, we're going to use the Zool and Vince Clortho. That's all fictional, but yeah.
Wait a minute. There is no Zool?
There is no
Zool. No, wait, how's that go?
There is no Dana.
There is only Zool. Right?
There is no Dana, only Zool, and then she's.
So yeah, let me get the other guy.
So this is one of our most often quoted.
Henry Jackson. I don't think we've seen him here yet, but if we haven't,
been here. So we have our Bruce. Hi, Bruce. Welcome. I don't know if I've seen guys before.
So this came out in 1984, and I have to admit, I did not see this in the theater when it came out.
Oh, dude.
I don't know why. I cannot tell you why. I was about a junior in high school then. Not sure. I did see it. Of course, I think afterwards when it was a big hit and everybody's like, oh, you got to see it. And I think I saw it. Must have rented it on VHS, I guess.
So it was a feature on HBO.
Obviously, this is probably one of my wife will back me up on this quoted movies. I constantly,
absolutely.
I don't even realize I'm doing it half the time.
It's become part of our just natural speech patterns at this point.
Right down to when Rick Moranis goes back and I'm going to have me a shower. I say that like all the time.
I love that the key master is the one who's locked out of his apartment every
all the time.
He steps out. Like
the movie is just like one liner like after another.
So when Harold Ramis comes out from under the desk and Janine is flirting with him heavily and trying to get him, and he goes, I collect mold, spores, and fungus.
Right.
Every time I'm fixing a computer and I have to climb under a desk, when I come out, I stand up and I do that line.
I collect them all the time.
Print is dead. Yeah.
Yes. So this is very well, and we'll be quoting it all night long, and that's okay.
We all say, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Like every single line. If somebody asks you if you're God, like every single line.
I actually had the cause to use that, believe it or not. I don't remember. It was relatively recently, and I said, if somebody asks you, you say yes.
Yeah.
So that's probably one of the better lines.
It's a sign. All right. I'll say it's a sign. All right, going out of business. Like just so many.
There's just tons. Yeah, I mean, and of course, this man has no dick. It's just.
Come on, type something. We're paying for this stuff.
Yeah, type. Sorry about the bug eyes.
Right. So we'll be quoting it all night long. I see already people are typing lines over in the chat. Henry's doing. I'd like to get a sample of your brain tissue.
One of my favorites is this magnificent feast represents the last
of the petty cash.
I just had Chinese for that very reason.
We could probably just all get together and just act it out without really needing a script.
For the next hour, guys, is us quoting this movie.
Pretty much, yeah, it's going to be us quoting. So, all right, you guys want to run through the actors, run through the writing, run through the background where they got the inspiration?
We got to do the drink.
Oh, yes, let's do our drink.
So let me get my drink, which always seems to take a while to load.
My drink is green in order of Slimer, but I put it in a blue glass, so it looks blue, but it's for Slimer.
So, the Slimer is our drink. And there it is. And this is something that I actually invented years ago, believe it or not. It's not anything. So I had this already in the queue. So it's pretty simple. It's orange juice, pineapple juice, peach schnapps or peach tree, little blue carousel for mostly for color, and then the citrus vodka. If you can't find citrus vodka, well, hell, you can find vodka in every flavor now anyway. So, and that's just mix it up, pour it over ice.
So we used to use
but it
the
makes
Ecto Cooler.
It's actually this color.
Yeah, we used to use the Ecto Cooler from High C.
Yeah,
and put vodka in it.
Well, there you go. That's a simpler one. This
there
one I
you
think
go.
probably
All
tastes
right.
better.
Well, all right. Cheers, guys. Here's to one of our all-time favorites.
Salud, Jindan,
Ghostbusters.
everybody. Hope everybody's safe, COVID-free.
COVID-free and be safe and enjoy us just saying Ghostbuster lines for the next 50 minutes.
Absolutely.
For next. Yeah. So, of course, this was directed by Ivan Reitman. And we talked about that it was written by Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis. Of course, Harold Ramis had gone on to be a accomplished director in his own right. So, this is one of the movies Sigourney Weaver did where I think was, I want to say a breakup because we had already seen her in Alien, but I think it showed a different side of her because we were kind of used to the Ripley character. And I really liked her character in this. I thought, she was still kind of a strong female character.
But she was a sensible woman, sensible girl
at the same time. So it was kind of cool. And of course, she was very, very sexy in this movie, obviously.
Very. She had to audition because they knew she'd done Ripley and they knew she'd done drama. They're like, but can she do comedy? Yeah. So she had to audition. The scene they had her audition with was somewhere near on where she's turning into the terror dog. And she had to bark for Ivan Reitman. And apparently she barked and got the job.
Yeah.
So Sigourney wasn't a done deal right off the bat. The original casting was supposed to be John Candy as Louis Tully in the Rick Moranis role. It was supposed to be Eddie Murphy in the Ernie Hudson role, which I'm so glad they went with Ernie Hudson, and I can explain why. It was supposed to be, who was the other one? Not Bill Murray. Hang on, I wrote this down somewhere. And while I'm trying to look that up, the inspiration for the writing, besides Dan Aykroyd's interest in the occult.
Originally Dan Aykroyd wanted John Belushi.
John Belushi, thank you. That's what I was looking for. John Belushi.
And I think, had John died by this point? I'm not sure.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe that's
which
why.
Is how Slimer's gluttonous is, and the way he's drinking, and it goes right through him, and then he's like eating. That's straight out of Belushi Animal House. That's straight out of the Bluto character.
Yeah.
In back in the day, there had been, and you can still find this, in 1937, Disney put out a short called Lonesome Ghosts, where Mickey and Goofy and Donald play ghost exterminators, and they get a call to go, and when they get there, it was the ghost that actually called because they were lonely and they had no one to haunt. But there were a couple other things out there that had already talked about the concept of ghost exterminating. So the concept was already out there. The concept was there. An interesting Filmation. Filmation is the company that put out Star Trek and He-Man and a whole bunch of other cartoons that we all know and love. Filmation had a Ghostbusters, a real live action Ghostbusters show that was like two guys and a gorilla. And the Dan Aykroyd and those guys paid them. They paid for the license to use the phrase Ghostbusters.
I did not know that. I know there was a cartoon called the Ghostbusters,
right?
And then,
and then they came out with the TV, the version, the
one from the movie. That was the real Ghostbusters,
right? Yeah. So what happened was when they put out the Ghostbusters from the movie cartoon, Filmation said, "Hey, can we do it?" And for whatever reason, they were like, "No, we're going to go with Dick, whatever they are, that company." And so Filmation was like, "All right, whatever. We actually still own the title Ghostbusters," so they put out their own Ghostbusters cartoon. So there was the Filmation Ghostbusters cartoon, which was nothing to do with this movie. And then there was the Dick Ghostbusters, which had to get retitled as the real Ghostbusters.
Right. Convoluted licensing.
They're still going.
Never run into that.
That's all I know about that.
They're still going through lines here.
Well, of course they are.
Keep going, guys.
I just want to say, Martin, welcome, Vinny, Sue, John.
Vinny's here. Hi, Vinny.
Thanks, guys, for coming. Dennis. Not your Dennis, the other
Dennis. But both from Canada, interestingly enough.
Yes, both from Canada. Well, it must be a popular Canadian name. Does that Dennis sell cheap Canadian bootleg TV? No,
but does that Dennis sell cheap Canadian bootleg?
Inside joke. Never mind.
All right, moving on.
Moving on. Yeah, right. We digress once more.
As always.
Yeah, it's just like, I just want to keep quoting the movies, but
so I was gonna say, just so you guys know, that 1937 cartoon's on YouTube if you want to go watch it. Anyway, keep going.
So of course the music became very famous. In fact, I think the theme song was on like the top of the charts for several weeks as number one. Of course, Ray Parker Jr. Wrote it.
So Ray Parker,
a lot of
course,
interesting
we also
stuff.
should mention
Yeah.
I was just gonna say we should mention Elmer Bernstein's score.
Right. Well, we'll get there, but we're going to cover one topic at a time. Right now, we're talking
music topic.
Anyway, Ray Parker Jr. Originally, they had in the middle of the movie, they were using Huey Lewis's "I Want a New Drug" just for the tempo because that's the beat that they wanted. They went through, I don't know how many, what is like 50 something. They had different versions of a song. And they eventually hired Ray Parker Jr. to come up. And of course he came up with the song that we know. It hit Huey Lewis eventually sued him over saying he basically stole the beat from "I Want a New Drug." It was settled out of court. There was a non-disclosure agreements on it so that they neither could talk about what was, about the whole case. And then about 1989, 1990, somewhere in there, Huey Lewis was on a member of VH1's Behind the Music, and he's talking about that, and he's basically called Ray Parker Jr. out that he stole it, which violated the non-disclosure agreement. And then so Ray went and sued Huey Lewis and got all his money back, I guess. So it's kind of a crazy thing, but yeah, jumping on the other music that were kind of that. Do you hear that when they're kind of going in the library? That dun 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 dun. That's the one that Elmer Bernstein wrote. In fact, I think I can play it if you want to hear it. There it is.
There it is. Yep.
And some of those really high, ethereal, kind of ghostly notes is done by a 19th century instrument called an on martineau. It's a keyboard. It's kind of like a cross between a theremin and it's a keyboard. So it's more like a Moog synthesizer, but the sound was like a theremin. Yeah. Those wavering high ghostly notes, that's what that is. Elmer Bernstein used that in a lot of his music. And if you Google him and you see what he scored, you'll know right away. You'll hear it right away going forward. You're like, oh, I know what that is. That's that on Martineau or whatever.
Right. And then there's the other song in there that kind of went after the firehouse blows up after Dickless turns off the containment unit, and you hear that other song. It's called Magic.
Yep.
Kind of a very 80s kind of.
Yeah.
That one was by if somebody knows it off the top of my head. It was another popular band of that era. Crap. I had it and I lost it. If anybody knows it, go ahead and tell me.
Anybody knows, yeah, put it.
Yeah, post that up. Anyway, yeah, apparently, oddly enough, I believe Bernstein didn't care for that music. He didn't want them to use it, but obviously it's in there, so
it works.
It works. Yeah, because it really, when you think about it, the music, it's like all over the place in this film because you have
the music's a character too.
Then you have the busboys doing that kind of that the piano bit where they're running after they they're
they got jazz piano kind of thing. But the music totally sets the tone because that song, that busboy song, comes after the very, very, very first scare of the movie where the librarian and that music cues in, so you know right away this isn't a really scary movie. Right. This is a scary movie. You know what I mean?
And the effects were really good. Of course, ILM did the effects, and they were really good for 1984. I thought. I mean,
for 1984, yes. I mean, going back now, I think the only ones that stand out, one that still stands out is excellent. I will tell you, but one that stands out now, you're like, oh, okay, that needs work, is the terror dog chasing Louis Tully across the street, tavern on the green. It doesn't look right now.
Yeah, those. Yeah, and I remember
yeah, nice Poochie. But the one that still looks good to this day is where they did shots from New York City of them when they arrive at the building, like the big ending, and there's all the crowds cheering for them, Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters. And they come to the building and they look up and cut to shots done in LA of the earthquake, where the street actually breaks apart and the cop car kind of rolls partly down. That's like two different locations blended together, and for the most part, that fools the eye quite nicely and does so to this day. Well, now you know to look for it. You're like, oh, that's LA, that's New York.
Yeah.
But yeah, they did a good job with that.
Yeah, it's a city. You know, most people, you're not looking. That's kind of that suspension, almost disbelief kind of thing, where you're just not, you're not paying attention to that, so nobody cares.
But
I mean,
yeah,
you'll see
but
stuff.
The actual proton packs, those still look beautiful.
Oh yeah, I mean, the laser, whatever it is, the proton energy,
unlicensed nuclear accelerator stream, particle beam, whatever it is.
Is running an unlicensed accelerator, nuclear accelerator.
Switch me on. And it like the sound
Switch me on.
We should have had.
Else edges
that was the funniest thing. They're in the elevator. Just,
yeah,
we all just kind of like move across. It's like this subtle thing. What are you guys? Some kind of exterminator? Yeah, someone saw a taco. Must be some cocktail. Take your head off, right?
Right, head off, man. Yeah. But yeah, no, the magic song, the streaks of light in the sky, that still looks fine. Yeah, like so much of it still looks
Ghosts,
great.
I think, they really did well. Even
Stay Puft looks still good.
Yeah, Stay Puft. So he was a guy in costume for the most part. He had 3 different heads. He had cute head, he had cute angry head, and then he had really angry head.
Yeah, the one I love, the one when everything blows up and you see his face, he's like, uh-oh. And of course it just blows him apart, which is funny.
Oh, and then all that
shaving cream.
So, so I found out about that. So that's William Atherton. So they said, hey man, we're gonna dump 150 pounds of shaving cream on you, and he's like, 150? No. They're like, no, that's shaving cream. They're like, he goes, no, 150. Whether there's 150 pounds of lead or 150 pounds of shaving cream, it's still 150 pounds.
Yeah, so it doesn't hit him all at once.
The stunt guy did it first and got flattened, like he got creamed, and they were like, oh, so they backed off to about 75 pounds, and he still kind of got decked.
I think I've told you my William Atherton story, how I met him once, kind of.
Did you? Hold that story, because he was so good at being the jerk in this movie, and being dickless in this movie.
He made a whole career
being a jerk. Treated him as such for years afterwards, to the point where he got in a bar fight with someone over, just over this character. So when you met him, tell us, what is he?
Well, I didn't. It wasn't. He apparently in my hometown. The fire department I was a member of, and the chief, he was the chief's nephew of our fire department, so there was a connection. And the chief's father, who had been one of the founding, had passed away, and we were at the funeral, or not really the funeral, but it was a memorial service. And you go through the line and you're shaking hands with people, and at the time he had a full beard and longer hair. And my friend Richard's next to me, he's in the fire department, and I go and I'm shaking hands, and my condolences. And as we go down the line and I shake his hand, and I'm thinking, this guy's really familiar looking. Where do I know this guy from? And then my friend Richard's bugging, he's going, that's Dickless. He goes, that's Dickless. Not to his, so, that was it. I didn't, by that time I had gone down the line when he finally sponged me. You go, that's Dickless.
Oh my God.
So yeah, that was my only met him, but it wasn't like a fanboy moment where I'm like,
it was a funeral, so you didn't have a chance to kind of chat with the guy.
It was just funny because that's how people, because even, after that he did movies, what was the one with Val Kilmer, The Science?
Real Genius. We should do that movie. That's a great movie.
In that movie,
Which I don't,
he was kind of typecast.
Kind of weird in real life though, I think. I don't know. Yeah, he got typecast. He
was a nice enough guy. Like when I met him, he wasn't, outstanding. He's like, just normal person. So, and his career's been, he's still around. He did, the last thing I think I saw him in was Defiance, the sci-fi show.
He is. Oh, was he in Defiance?
Yes.
Oh.
He played a human that wanted to be an alien, or like dressed up like he wanted to be an alien or something. It's kind of weird.
His character and the function, the role of his character in Ghostbusters. So I research to get notes for these, and I prefer to read, but I also watch YouTube. YouTube has him. Everyone's like, why is the main antagonist the EPA? And I'm like, no. The main antagonist is Gozer the Gozerian.
Right.
All William Peck is a MacGuffin. His sole function, his only reason for existing in the movie is to shut off the grid to release Goes to the Gozerian. Yeah. He's not, and so many people were like, and the main bad guy is the EPA, and I'm like, no.
The Twinkie.
Tell him about the Twinkie.
What about the Twinkie?
What about the Twinkie?
Tell him about the Twinkie.
He is a MacGuffin. He is nothing but a MacGuffin. He's a very, very funny MacGuffin, but he's just a MacGuffin.
I'll tell you another line I use. I do this on my poor daughter every time because she was in band in high school, and I always say after every concert, you were the best one in your row.
In your row.
Oh, you're good. Most people can't hear me over a whole orchestra playing.
My kids heard that throughout their musical career in school.
Well, I think and one of the reasons I think we chose Kent for this is because Kent, when we were up at the tour, I think I always say this, you get every single stupid movie reference I make, no matter how obscure. Kent always seems to pull it out, and certainly this is one of the top movies that we reference constantly.
Yep. It's engraved in my genes.
Yeah. So, but yeah, once again they're having a conversation here. I'm trying to say, guys.
Yeah, Vinny said Atherton was in Die Hard. He was
right, and he played a jerk again. You see, he played the reporter. He was in the first
tased in the second
because he was in the second one as well.
Yep, he got tasered in the second one.
Yeah, he was on the airplane, one of the airplanes. Yep. But yeah, that's right. He always plays a jerk. I mean, he just always plays a jerk.
I genuinely hope he's not in real life, but I don't know. I've heard.
I don't think he is. I think it's just the way he got.
Oh, he probably is at this point because he's been treated that way throughout his life.
Coming up to him going, "Hey, Dickless, you were an ass." I mean, I understand. I really never understood people that were so dim that they couldn't understand that this was.
You can't separate the character from the actor.
So but there.
So we got William made it. We did Sigourney, Harold and Dan wrote it. Bill Murray, they said come do it. They weren't sure he was going to show up. Apparently, he'd been overseas filming. I can tell you what he was filming, some other movie, more of a drama, and he came home exhausted. So I guess at the beginning he'd film stuff and then go back to his trailer and sleep, and then finally he got caught up and finally realized, oh, this is fun, we're having fun, and had more fun on the set. But I guess he was exhausted.
But he took like a hiatus for like 6-8 years after he made this film.
He did.
Bill Murray didn't do any acting until he came back.
Hang on, I'll tell you what
he came back.
Razor's Edge. He had gone to do Razor's Edge.
Oh yeah,
he did Razor's Edge. And then he did this movie, and then he didn't do anything till he did Scrooged.
That's right. He did. You know who else just stepped away from acting?
89, they did Ghostbusters 2. It had to be later than that. Maybe it wasn't 8 years. They must not have been, couldn't have been that long.
Yeah. You know who else just permanently stepped away from acting? Not recently, but a while ago was Rick Moranis.
His
wife died of breast cancer.
Yeah, that's a very sad situation. Yeah, his wife died. And
and he wanted to be with the kids. And hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Now, he did still do some voice work and a few little like producing things, but for the most part, he is not in front of the camera. And I don't know if you guys saw in the news, but recently he was the victim of an unprovoked random attack in New York City. Some guy walking by just turned and wailed on him. And there's like I don't know if there's footage, but there was a picture on Twitter, and everyone was like up in arms, like, you do not remember when Bill Murray's like, no one steps on a church in my town. Someone was like, no one wails on Rick Moranis in my town. People are angry about it.
He just did a thing with what's the word with Ryan Reynolds. He did like a little promo thing for Ryan Reynolds. Did he? Yeah, it was like for an ad for something. I'd have to Google it on YouTube, and you can check it. Hang on a second.
He turned down. They said, "Hey, come back and do Ghostbusters Afterlife," and he turned it down. That whole shot him when he starts with she goes, "Do you have any Excedrin or Tylenol?" And he's like, "I have acetylsalicylic acid. It's da 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 da. I try the salmon. It's 24.9 pound. Da da da. The brie, it's room temperature. Do you think the room's too warm for the brie?" That whole thing is one long take. He improvised the entire thing.
Yeah, he was really funny in that. That's
fantastic, just fantastic.
That whole thing about the salmon, 25 a pound, but
I'm gonna invite clients instead of friends, and that's why it's a tax write-off.
They can write it off, and they're gonna what is it?
Because Rick knew something about tax. Like they cast Rick because he did actually know some measure of experience with taxes or something. That I'm not sure, but I think
Oh,
so.
maybe. I don't know.
I like how he introduced each person at the party by their tax situation.
By their situation, so they're okay. Yeah.
On a small
They-
business receivership.
And then we had,
Yeah.
what's her name?
He's drawing
there?
his salary from a bonus and deferment, so they're okay.
Yeah.
Casey Kasem's wife there as his
Oh
girlfriend.
yeah, Gene Kasem. Louis,
Yeah.
I'm bored. No,
I'm
Louis,
le-
I'm
Louis,
going
I'm
home.
leaving. I'm leaving.
I'm going. Well, let's dance. Maybe we start dancing.
Yeah.
Okay. She's
And then the cougar / bear gets him.
okay. Who brought the dog?
Yeah,
And then there's Annie Potts. A bunch of the deleted. If you guys go on YouTube, there's all the deleted stuff. There's a much more of kind of Annie Potts loving on Egon. But they were trying to get Annie ready to go and doing her costume and makeup check to see how she was going to look as Janine. And like right at the last second, one of them, Dan or Harold or Ivan, right? One of them literally grabbed the glasses off the makeup girl and put them on Annie and said, okay, that's the look. That's what I want. So the whole shoot, right before they shot, they had to go get this poor girl and take her glasses. And I guess the poor girl's like blind without them. And she'd shoot, and also not be able to see because they were prescription. And then they'd give them back to the makeup girl.
Nice.
You couldn't just get like prop glasses with blank lenses. Okay.
It's authenticity.
Authenticity.
I had such a crush on her.
Annie?
that movie.
Oh
Yeah. That and Designing Women.
Yeah, Designing Women. She now is just absolutely the most adorable thing on Young Sheldon because she plays the grandmother.
Right.
And she's adorable. Like she's still cute.
And she disappeared into that part because I really didn't realize it was her until I saw some credits.
Yeah. You're like, oh my God. And then you go, oh, I feel old. It's Annie Potts.
Yeah.
Oh God. Because in our mind, she's Janine Meltz, or whatever her name was forever. Like she's young and redhead.
Now there's the we can talk about there's the new film that's coming out at some point.
It got pushed back. It was gonna be now, and it got
what is it? Not Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Afterlife. Thank you.
Yes.
And I think she's in it. She has a cameo in it. I want to say
They apparently all do, except for Rick, and Harold Ramis, who has passed.
Harold Ramis can't because she's.
I mean, it's a ghost movie. He could have come in secret. But
I suppose he could be like Obi-Wan in there, right? Just
he could have been like Obi-Wan.
Yeah, so yeah, that was the other thing. Rick Moranis and Ryan Reynolds did a little promo-y thing together. It was for Ryan Reynolds. You can look it up on YouTube. That's the only thing.
I want to see what that is. I haven't seen Rick in a long time.
I mean, I could play it, but you guys can look it up. It's not really relevant. It's just that he is coming. He's coming. His kid's got to be grown by now, so I'm sure that's not even a factor anymore.
Yeah, they're getting.
Great to see him come back because he did some great movies.
Oh yeah, Honey,
Yeah.
I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah.
What's
Rick
that?
was great in the day. Yeah.
Yeah, and it goes well beyond the Canadian brothers there.
And Bob and Doug McKenzie.
Bob and Doug McKenzie.
Whatever the hell they're doing.
It's so funny because so many people came out of Second City TV. You had John Candy.
Oh yeah, like all these guys were Second.
Guys came out of Second City.
Ghostbusters is a weird mix of Second City and also kind of Saturday Night Live. Like it's kind of both.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you've got Murray and Aykroyd out of SNL, and then of course you got Rick coming out of Second City. So yeah, there's but yeah. What else do we talk about in this movie? I know there's tons of stuff.
Oh, if you want to know why I think it had to have been Ernie Hudson and not
Yes.
Eddie Murphy.
I like Ernie.
So
he's a great actor.
Yeah, no, he was.
So think about the scene. Let me pull up my Ernie Hudson notes.
Steady paycheck in it. I'll believe in it.
I believe anything you
I'll
say.
believe in anything.
Ernie.
I've seen shit that will turn you white.
That was in Eddie Murphy.
If it had been Eddie Murphy, it would have been a bigger role. But because it was Ernie, it was a smaller role, but that's okay. He is kind of the stand-in for the audience. He's kind of the audience POV character.
Yeah,
but
he's the everyman.
He's the everyman. And he gets to be a Ghostbuster not because the other three are scientists. He gets to be a Ghostbuster because he answered a wanted ad. Right? So what his character is saying is anyone can be a Ghostbuster. You just got to go learn. You just got to learn, like, you set your grid, you do this, you flush it when the light is green, the traffic's green, is clean.
Yeah, well, the funny, what always bothered me about that when he comes in and he's got the newspaper and he's like, I'm here for the job. these guys were all over Newsweek, all over the radio, everywhere.
Yeah.
You think there would have
And
been
no one else. He was the only one that showed up for the job.
Yeah, one guy
Right.
shows up, and they're
Yeah.
they're paying him crappy. It's like
Yeah.
it's kind of funny.
But here's the thing: is he think about his conversation in the car with Dan Aykroyd. That conversation.
He's a very religious man.
Judgment.
Yeah, he goes, I like Jesus' style. I don't know what about Winston Zeddemore. I don't know about Ernie Hudson, but Winston Zeddemore likes Jesus' style. That's all we really get out of him. But that conversation, like, imagine Eddie Murphy doing it. It would have been a little bit more flippant. But Ernie really brought, like, he humanized it, he solidified it, and he brought the gravity to the moment. Like, that was the moment when they're like, oh my God, the dead are rising. Like, we're coming on Judgment Day because the dead are rising from the grave. And like, that was like a heavy, heavy moment. I don't think Eddie could have done it. Eddie back then was like, I don't know.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been, you couldn't make it as serious. I think Eddie could pull it off. I think knowing what he's done.
Yeah, but it would have been worse. He was young back then. It would have been.
I know. I don't know. You're right. I know what you're saying. I agree, and I'm not disagreeing with it at all. I don't know if he would have worked. We don't know until we.
Well, we'll never know. We'll never know now, and there's no second guessing it now.
Yeah, but no, I mean, Ernie Hudson obviously works perfect. Again, this is another one of those things where the cast fits well together. You really can't see. We talked about that last time.
Right. The same way that we had to have Sigourney as this straight, sensible anchor. Like, she's the most sensible one. She's the anchor. She thinks Venkman. She's afraid. Like, she was afraid of stuff. She didn't laugh at it. She was afraid, so we were afraid. We're like, oh, we're supposed to be afraid of this. She thought Venkman was okay, even though he's kind of a jerk, and he brought Thorazine to a date. But she still thought he was okay, so we think he's okay. Like, you know what I mean? So she does that for us. So she does that role. Ernie does the grounding role. Like, they all, it was really well done.
I'm friends with a guy on Facebook. He's Steve Neal. He's a huge world-class model maker. He was one of the arms that ripped up through the chair and grabbed her.
Oh, there's a picture of Sigourney. There's a picture showing that. There's 3 guys on the ground. She's in the chair, and 3 guys, reaching. That's a great picture. Oh my God, that's awesome.
He's one of those guys. He got to reach up and grab across her thighs. He said he will never wash that hand. And
you don't generally see that kind of behavior in a major appliance.
In a major appliance, yeah.
Where do these stairs go?
They go up.
You eat this?
I say that every time I climb.
Yeah. And Coke. There's a big can of Coke very prominently placed because Coke was the parent of Columbia Pictures. Who did this? Columbia, I think, right?
Yeah, that was really before the days before they really put in a lot of product placing in movies.
Yeah. But there was there's a reason for it. Like, the Coke guys visited the set.
I did notice that the one can of Coke was there. It was kind of there all by itself.
Very prominent, very obvious Coke. And he's uplifting the lids of all the Corningware.
Yeah.
No, this wasn't here. There was lights and the voice that said,
flipping the egg back and forth. It's like,
it's an
egg.
Are these the eggs? Oh my God. How many of you ever went to someone's house and there was a piano and you're
Oh yeah, I do it all the time. They hate this.
I
do that every time I see a piano. They hate this.
I hate this. My
that
mother has a
thing?
piano.
It's
We
just
still
one
do
of our little toys.
Yeah, what do you?
Are you sure you're using that thing? Well, I think so.
But I mean, look at the writing. There's no hero. I mean, I guess maybe Venkman's the hero because he gets the girl. But like, none of them. There's no hero or chosen one or destined one. It's like kind of all 3 of them. All 4 of them.
All 4 of them.
Tully.
Huh?
Lewis. He's the hero.
How do you figure that?
How do you figure that?
Well, because he was okay with taking brain samples.
That's because he was taken over by.
Sounds great. I'm gonna need a sample of brain tissue. Okay.
Yeah, the Keymaster.
Oh, the outtake.
Coffee. I always say that's another one. Yes, have some.
You want some coffee?
Yes, have some.
The implication is that there's sex magic, right, with Dana and Lewis. And one of the outtakes, like one of the deleted scenes, was him going, "Did we?" and her going, "Nope."
Well, but the funniest part of that is that he's like half her height.
I know,
they're like, she's like carrying him up the stairs. That's funny as hell.
Did you see the outtake where the deleted scene where they're laying on the slab afterwards? I mean, they might as well have been smoking. I mean,
Right. Oh no,
Oh,
I mean, we all know what they did.
Here, I'm gonna put a link to some deleted scenes for you guys in the chat.
Yeah, the chat got quiet.
Chat got quiet. I guess we're not.
Is there any questions for us guys, or anything that you know about this that
we don't know?
that we don't know? Of course, we get everything.
I mean, we could really dive into how this is an analysis of science versus religion, but
let's not go down that route.
let's not go down there. There's two links to YouTube.
Can we wander into the disappointing sequel?
Yeah, we can kind of wander.
Right, we could talk about that because I don't think it was that bad.
Rizzo likes it. He told me to give it another chance.
I don't know why people hate it so much.
I don't hate it. It didn't, in my opinion, it didn't have the same biting sarcasm that the first one did, and it didn't live up to the first one.
Well, it's a sequel, so hello, welcome
right.
to the movies.
But there's no rule that says the sequel has to be worse. I mean, look at Alien.
But I don't think it was, I mean, I look it back and I still quote a lot of stuff out of that movie too.
Do you really? See,
Peter
did not grab me at all.
Why am I drippings with goo? Yes.
First of all, he was the funniest thing in the whole movie. If you ask
Nichols,
me.
Nichols.
Where are you from? The Upper West Side? It's like where are you from? Like, because he has this weird accent. But he's just like, I don't know. I didn't think it was that bad. It was, I never understood why there was so much distaste for it. I mean, it wasn't better than the first one by far. No, I'm not suggesting that, but I don't know where else you would have gone with it. So especially since, I guess you could say, I thought it was funny. First of all, the scene when they're in the courtroom is hysterical.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't care what you say. That's so funny. It's like that estrangement order, that blue thing I got from her, Thank you, Lewis.
Right.
That was short and pointless.
Maybe I need to go back and watch it.
I think you need to go rewatch it and try to have an open mind with it because I think there's a lot of funny stuff in that movie. The dancing toaster, oh, you're my number one Christmas boutique item. Yeah, until somebody gets mad and the toaster eats.
Bruce Willishin is saying, I worked with the late Terry Windell, who was the animation supervisor on Ghostbusters. Well, cool. A truly lovely man. Very, very cool. Oh, yeah, the animation. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really great stuff. It was as cutting edge as it could get for 1984. It was
right. They were up against the limits of the technology.
They were up against the limits of the technology.
Why, ILM was involved in
we can do all roads. There's only one little road or one medium-sized road. I mean, no, I shouldn't say that. There are some background people and a lot of the sci-fi, the special effects people that worked. So the one road that leads to Star Trek is Michael Ensign. He played the hotel manager. $5,000? I didn't know. I won't pay that guy. Well, we can just put it right back in. That guy, he got not the trifecta, but the fourfecta. What's the word for four?
Quadfecta.
He got Next Generation. And you want to know exactly what he did? I'll tell you. Next Generation, in First Contact, he played Minister Krolla.
Right.
He got Deep Space Nine. In The Forsaken, he played Lojaw. I don't know. In Voyager, episode False Prophets, he played Bard or the Bard. And in Enterprise, the episode was Stigma. He played Dr. Orat. So he got 4 Star Trek shows out of 1.
Okay, so here's another connection. Steve Neal, the guy I was just talking about with the arm and the special effects, he did Spock's ears for Motion Picture and Wrath of Khan.
Yes. I don't always do a deep dive through all the special effects people because there's usually
a lot of overlap.
And you're going to have a lot of overlap.
And if you guys are ever, not you guys, but like the listening audience, if you're ever curious, go and you want to know like how we do this or how you can do it for yourself, go on IMDb and up at the top is the search bar and click on, I'll do it right now. Click on advanced search and then click on collaborations. And that'll come up with, you can either put 2 people in the same.
Yep, she froze.
Title, or you can put 2 titles with the same people. So I put under 2 titles, title 1, I put Ghostbusters, and title 2, I pick a Star Trek, any Star Trek, I have to choose one, and then search. And it'll come up with not just actors, but all the crew.
Yep.
And music, all of it. So, and that's how you can.
Otherwise, everybody thought you were just some kind of savant with.
You're giving away all the secrets.
Yeah.
I'm giving away the secrets, but some people like to do this, look for themselves.
I know. I'm only teasing.
I
kid.
We have a whopping viewership of what? Oh, we've got 13 people this. Yay! Hi guys.
Yay, 13, lucky 13.
It's me on the draw.
It is Halloween. It's Halloween month, 13.
Oh, because John and Sue, what about the new Ghostbusters with Melissa? Yeah, that was just a horse of another color. It was like completely different. There were like a few funny things with what's his name?
Is that what she's talking about? The one that came out a couple years ago?
Yeah.
Girl,
we don't speak of it.
It's like they couldn't make up their mind between doing a remake or a sequel.
Yeah, that's why I have more hope for Ghostbusters Afterlife, because I think.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen of Afterlife, it looks pretty good.
It looks like a direct,
not meant to be a rehash. It's definitely supposed to take place many years later.
Yeah.
You know, and it's kind of almost. I assume it's from what I've seen. It's kind of a passing the mantle on to another cast. Yes. Whereas the other movie, and this is about all we're going to talk about, it was just really a remake with the same exact characters.
It was like bad gag. Like instead of it being funny, like the original movie made things funny in the moment because it was part of the moment. Like he got sitting there listening to a table for some reason, and Venkman comes up behind him, whatever. With the book. Like that's funny because it's the moment. This was just gags for the sake of gags. It was like Melissa McCarthy just yelling at the ghost.
Book stacking. You're right. No human would ever stack books.
No human. Oh, and then moments that would just happen, like when right after that, a bookcase falls, and that wasn't planned. It just fell for some reason. And Venkman turns to Bill Murray turns to Dan Aykroyd. Did that ever happen to you? And Aykroyd's like, nope. Like they just ad-libbed that. There were tons of ad-libs in this.
You remember that time you tried to drill a hole through your head?
That would have worked if you hadn't stopped me.
Smell that?
Listen, smell it. Yeah, like all that. It's so funny in the moment. And
there's your he's taunting you with a candy bar.
And I love me some Hemsworth. I love me some I like
everybody has three mortgages.
I love me some Kate McKinnon, and it just didn't work.
Yeah. But yeah, everybody has three mortgages.
I love me some Leslie Jones. I love all of those women.
It's nothing against the cast.
It was just the writing was rough. You would think one of them would pipe up and say, hey.
But here's the thing. It just what aggravates me about Halloween in general. It didn't need to be remade.
No.
It really did.
It's like it sits, you watch it, you know, my 18-year-old daughter could watch it and enjoy it. And it's 35, 34 years old or 36 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she still finds it funny and current.
Yeah.
So and there are certain
why are you remaking this?
Yeah.
There are certain films that should be sacrosanct. You don't have to remake Jaws. Jaws is perfect in and of itself. Don't remake it.
Don't remake
it. Keep going to the well.
Because it's like they just they're just like it becomes a money grab, and
they're trying to cash the check.
I'm glad that these versions fail, because I'm hoping that Hollywood gets a clue that we're just not that stupid where we're just going to give you money because we like the old one. So
Star Trek.
We're
sorry,
Kent. We're not going to talk about Star Trek and its foibles.
So a few background things, and then I want to talk about something that is weird. Ron Jeremy is in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's one of the many people in the.
Yeah, he's like an extra.
Oh.
There's some random dude. When the reporter's doing the heck, my grandma would spin tales of a spectral locomotive that would rocket past. Right behind him, over his shoulder, this long-haired dude. Not an extra, just some random person from New York City who came wandering up while they were filming. Yeah. There's a shot of them running through 30 Rock Plaza. Like it's one of in the montage, and it's one of the first things they filmed. And Ivan Reitman said that it was the first time he'd seen him like in their getup, and he said, "I got a chill down my spine." I said, "I knew it was going to work right then." But they're running through 30 Rock, kind of through sort of toward the camera, and they're sort of jogging really. And the reason they're really running for real because they didn't have permission to film there, and they didn't ask. And I guess some security guard was actually behind them going, "Hey, get out."
Better to ask permission.
Or they didn't have a permit or whatever.
Well, that's interesting that they would do that, because New York, I'm sure I wonder if they go because they knew who the film
you would think
company they just fine you. You know.
Nowadays you can. Like DC is really, you can't film in DC at all. You
need
thousands of
Yeah, that's probably for sure.
But New York, you can still kind of get away with it a little bit, but yeah. You need permits and stuff. So anytime you see them out in the street,
I've done city shoots. It's a whole thing. It's very expensive.
The whole thing, yeah.
Because you
and
know
then you need to have be cordoned off.
You usually have to have the police department to block roads off, streets off, and cordon things off. And yeah, I mean, I did one down in Tampa one time, and we had cops.
It's a big deal, yeah.
It's a big deal.
Whenever you see all those street shots, and there are a lot of street shots in this movie, a lot of the people are not extras. They're New Yorkers trying to live their lives. And here are these people filming.
Yeah.
But we were talking about stuff that was ad-libbed, and something that I came across in my research that I absolutely do not believe. But someone said that the whole ending, the whole concept of crossing the streams was decided on set, that they weren't sure how they're going to end it. And I thought, no, that can't be right, because sure, they had already, I don't know what order they filmed in. If they had already filmed crossing the streams is bad.
Yeah.
I'm a little fuzzy on the whole good bad thing. Yeah. If they'd already filmed that, then they already had Chekhov's gun. They already knew. If they hadn't filmed that yet, then they had to make sure to film that. That's just weird. I don't believe that. I believe it had to have been planned out.
I find it hard to believe that they didn't have it in the script, that this is how they eventually,
Yeah, but you know as well as I do that scripts get changed literally while
they had to have an idea of how they were going to end it. They didn't just, we're going to shoot the whole film and then go, well, okay, we're at the end. How are we
going to end it? Did they plan on something else?
Whoa. Monty Python didn't, and Holy Grail.
We're talking about, not talking about Monty Python. We're talking about actual, normal.
I get that, but that's a valid, lots of movies get started and they don't know how it's going to end.
But this would have been a special effects.
I would say ending. I would question the word lots.
Well, okay, many.
Some.
Oh, where'd you guys go?
Oh, we can
still see and hear you. Yeah, so that's just kind of weird. I don't know if I trust the veracity of that report.
Yeah.
They did follow their own internal logic. They followed their own rules. Whatever you do, don't do this. Crossing the streams is bad. So later on, when they say cross the streams.
They had to know. My guess is, assuming that your story is true, that they either went and reshot that scene where they say crossing the streams is bad, because that's clearly a foreshadow moment. At some point
it's Chekhov's gun.
Because
literally Chekhov's proton stream.
Yeah, and the flowers are still standing. Sorry.
And the flowers, because that's because the reason why is because Chekhov's gun is planted in a big scene that clearly took a lot of production to film. It wasn't like a one-off that they could just go back and, hey, let's reshoot this real quick.
No, that was the whole climax of the film.
They were in the middle. Well, the don't cross the streams part. Yeah. They were in the middle of the climax of Act 1, which took a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess if we may never know until we find somebody that's actually worked on the production and said, "Oh yeah, they were sitting there going, they couldn't figure out how to end it."
But see, even the people on the production don't know, because one person, I've heard two different versions of the William Atherton shaving cream, 50 pounds of shaving cream, and I went with what I thought was most true. The other one that I heard that I thought was funny was the special effects guys did a little reunion video. It's on YouTube, and they're in the hotel, and the maid comes around the corner, and they shoot up the maid, and she comes out. What the hell are you doing?
I say that all the time.
I say that all the time too. What the hell are you doing? The special effects guys are like, oh, she was looking right, because they had told her, hey, there were a couple little charges on the cart, just so you know, make sure you duck. Well, apparently the cart blew, and she wasn't ready for it, and she wasn't expecting it. So when she came out going, what the hell? She was looking right at the special effects guy. What the
nice shooting, Tex.
Yeah, nice shooting, Tex. Oh my god. So many little moments.
It's just movies, and of course everybody remembers the biggest at the time was the funniest thing is he slimed me.
Slimed me. I feel so.
I watched now and I'm like, why was that so funny in 1984? I don't remember. I'm like, I watch it now and I don't find it as funny. But I'm like, why was that? But that was
I still kind of find it funny. I don't know. I don't know why.
Martin brings up a good point. Casablanca didn't have an ending until they were almost done shooting.
Okay, so there's two films?
I'm just saying
that's still not a lot.
It's still not a lot. And until we know the sequence that I know they shot in New York first, and then they shot in LA. Right. Did they shoot the ballroom in New York, or did they shoot the ballroom in LA? I need to know this in order to verify the veracity of this report. Because for right now, I'm calling it false.
All they had to do was recreate the elevator.
Back and shot the elevator scene.
No, not the elevator scene. Well, he says it in the ballroom when they're getting Slimer on the ceiling.
Oh, okay. Oh no, yeah, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you're right. It's right. It's in the ballroom.
Back off, man. Shorten your stream. I don't want my face burnt off. That's the direct result of the previous "Don't cross the streams" comment. It would be bad. I'm a little fuzzy on the whole good bad thing. Yeah.
Okay, important.
Total proton.
Another line I use all the time. Important safety tip.
Important safety tip. Yeah, important safety tip. Yeah.
Imagine all life as you know it ceasing to exist, and every particle in your body exploding at the speed of light.
Speed of light. Yeah.
Okay.
Important safety tip. Thank you, Egon.
I mean, it could have been a reshoot. They could have inserted it, but when you look at the background, because I've been watching the movie and looking, the background, it looks like the set. The lighting looks right. Like when they do those reshoots, it's never quite right. And I don't know how good their matching was.
My guess is it was in the script all along.
I bet it was too.
That would be if I had to make a call on it, I'd say it was in
I agree.
Good bet.
The script all, yeah.
I agree.
So kind of slightly, I just wanted to, if anybody remembers, I don't know if anybody had gone back in the 90s to Universal Studios. They had a Ghostbusters ride. Universal Orlando, I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody, if anybody, it was more like one of those shows, like you go into a theater and you watch, and it was that end scene kind of thing where they had
was it really?
Building and the doors open up and she comes out. There's actors and then there's special effects, and it's one of these things where the ghosts fly over you, and of course there's like, I don't know if it's like fishing line or thread that's wet, and it kind of like, so you feel this wet thing kind of across your face. It was kind of fun. I don't know if anybody else. I'm just throwing it out there because
oh my god,
they've since replaced it with something else that's probably a little bit more modern. But I do remember that ride in Orlando.
How about that costume on Gozer?
That costume was found.
Or was it just
bubble wrap?
It was bubbles.
It was like a unitard with stuff on it, bubble wrap.
It did look a little.
That somebody was apparently. Here's another report. See, I read all this stuff when I'm researching. Someone was digging through a bin at like a bargain basement costume shop and came up with it and knew what it was, and it was it. It was really it for real. Like they got it verified, like authenticated, or however you do that. I know you can do it. I've seen it on TV where they get costumes and they're like.
Wonder how it ended up there. As opposed to
somebody wholesaled it out of a whole bunch of shit from
someone. The studios bundle everything up en masse and just. So someone has a lovely souvenir.
You would just think with the popularity of the film right out of the gate that it might have been.
She was supposed to be fairly androgynous, but I feel like the model was pretty female. Like she wasn't.
That happens a lot.
Definitely,
they had to recreate the ghost detector thingies for the second movie. The thing with swing
up.
Oh
no, the proton. Yeah, that reminds me. Bill Murray said, "I'm not doing the second movie unless you," because the proton packs were 50 pounds, 50 bloody pounds. What were they made out of that they needed? Why
were they so heavy?
Pounds?
That doesn't seems kind of ridiculous.
Were they actually nuclear accelerators? Like what were they?
A lot of fiberglass and
maybe
that's how the prop guys recreate them now. But back then it was metal, it was found objects, and there was like
and they glue them together. Yeah. So Bill said, "I'm not coming back. You gotta make them lighter," and they got them down to like 28 pounds, which still sounds pretty heavy to me. But isn't it weird that this movie spawned so much it spawned all kinds of toys, like speaking of that, like every kid had a proton pack, toys galore, a cartoon, like the kids just glummed. And when you really analyze this movie, when you really look at it, it's not a kid's movie.
No, that's
for some reason. I know Harold Ramis's quote why he thinks kids glommed onto it, but I think it's fascinating that
there's definitely, like I said, there's a lot of adult themes in it. I mean, the whole scene, like you say, the typical 80s music cut scenes, that was like an 80s thing where you'd have like you're saying, when they're playing the music and you see them doing their things, and Dan Aykroyd's kind of sleeping and the ghost is.
Yeah, I never understood that.
Kind of implying that the ghost.
There's deleted scenes, and yes, it is what you think it is. Yeah.
Take care of his potential tensions.
I never understood why they included that particular scene.
Yeah, it seems.
I agree. It doesn't really fit. It's not.
And it's not, when you see the outtakes, when you see the deleted scenes, it's not at the firehouse. It actually happens somewhere else. So the fact that they included it is bizarre.
Yeah, it's very strange. It is a strange inclusion, but it's there. And so that's why I say there are some adult themes. Of course, the Keymaster and Gatekeeper.
Yeah, but just starting a business and mortgaging
I don't
your
know
house.
if little kids, some kids might not pick up
3
what's
mortgages
going on there. What's that?
3 mortgages.
3
Everybody
mortgages.
has 3
Everybody has 3 mortgages these days. Yeah.
I'm looking for Harold Ramis's quote.
What was the number? He goes, just so you know, the interest for the first year is like
$95,000. Yeah.
$5,000. Yeah.
My parents left me that house. I was born in that house. Everyone has 3 mortgages nowadays.
You didn't even deal with the guy.
I love the real estate agent when he says, "You guys got to try this pole. We should sleep here tonight." And the real estate agent is like drooling.
The neighborhood is like a demilitarized zone. This building should be condemned. We got to stay here tonight. Perfect.
The power needs are completely inappropriate for our
inadequate. Yeah.
Oh god, I can't find it. But Harold Ramis.
I used that line when we were hunting for the new studio, when we were at the Armory in.
The power needs are completely
inadequate for our needs. I did inadequate it. For our needs.
that probably fit most buildings for our productions at the time.
True, but it was there and I used it.
Most buildings don't have a big old, 220. I don't know how many amps those connections are huge.
60 at least.
Yeah, that's, so most buildings don't have that.
I know. But
I can't find it, but just to paraphrase, Harold Ramis back on The Kids just said, little kids are afraid of a lot of things. Like the night is a dark and scary place for kids. And most adults, like if a kid said, I think there's something on the bed, most adults are like, no, you're fine, there's nothing there. This movie said, yeah, there is something there, but it's okay. If you've got this technology and this science, then you can totally beat it. That's kind of what he said. It was actually a really sweet quote, and I wish I could find it.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, like I said, I was high school age. So
I was 13. I was exactly, I thought, the target demographic until I started thinking about the fact that it really wasn't a kid's movie. No, but I glommed onto this thing like. I think
he liked the Slimer ghost. He was kind of silly.
Slimer's on stage. Slimer's on stage for less than 3 minutes. They actually use their proton packs for 1 minute and 28 seconds. Total in the entire film. This is not a kid's movie. There are no kids in the movie.
Right.
True.
They're smoking. They're cursing. The EPA is in the story.
It was not made or marketed towards children. I just think that.
And yet somehow kids
they liked it, and it's not really scary.
The walls in the 53rd precinct are bleeding.
That was no light show I saw today.
Yeah.
I have seen.
Yeah, I mean the other thing about this movie, this falls into one of those categories of films that if it's on, like I'm flipping channels and it's on, no matter what point of the movie is, you can sit there and you watch it.
Oh, absolutely.
There's only like a handful of movies that fall into that category for me. If it's on and I can just, I'm going to watch.
Oh yeah, every time it's on, we're watching.
Even if I watch 10 minutes of it, I'll just sit there and watch. I can name some other ones. Hunt for Red October is another one I find in that category.
Yep.
Ocean's 11 is another one for me.
Shawshank.
Shawshank, absolutely. That was just on the other night, as a matter of fact. Of course, I saw it. I'm going through Shawshank. Watch that. So this movie falls into Jaws, of course, is another one.
Jaws. Yep.
But this movie falls into that category where it's just, you just don't get tired of it for some reason.
No, you don't get tired of it.
And works, and it's just funny. And like I said, the lines just
still funny after all these.
It's certainly a part of my. I want to say my childhood, but at least my teenage years.
It's a permanent part of our lexicon now.
It's definitely a fixture in my life because of the amount of quotes just alone that I constantly use.
Like I said at the top of the show, it's become a permanent part of our language. It's our John Market Tanagra. We say things and we all know what we're talking about.
It still cracks me up. You were telling me that your dentist hadn't seen it. I mean,
he must have seen it. I think it's been a very, very long time.
He took a little offense if somebody saw. I asked Mary Beth if she was menstruating right now. And Dennis didn't know how I was being serious that I wasn't quoting the movie. Alice, are you menstruating right now?
That was in the movie, man. He's like,
Back off, man. I'm a scientist.
Back off, man. I'm a scientist.
I mean, that
What's
right out of
that
the
got to
gate.
do? Because I debated when I answered you. Just was gonna write, what's that got to do with it? And then I thought, no, that actually looks like maybe I don't know either. And I was hoping we'd all recognize the lines. I shouldn't have worried. Clearly, everyone knows this movie by
Everybody knows
heart.
that movie. That line is a classic. And that woman that plays that librarian,
That's Alice Drummond. She's
yeah,
around.
she's been
She's
a
stuff.
ton of stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just been in so many things.
She's around.
My uncle thought he was Aunt Jerome. I'd call that a
St.
big.
Jerome. I call that a big.
I'd call that a big.
Dennis just wrote in the. I saw Ghostbusters. It's not Ghostbusters. Stop talking about goats.
Oh, jeez.
Well, that's just a Canadian thing. You people are weird up there. I don't know.
Maybe you have Ghostbusters in Canada, but in the States we have Ghostbusters.
What are you doing with the goats, Dennis?
Yeah, leave the goats alone, Dennis. We'll be together again. You don't need no goat.
Oh my God!
I thought we were PG-13.
Yeah, well, kind of. I never market this as made for kids. So
we need to put warnings like this isn't.
Yeah, well, I don't think we have any children other than maybe in a mental age, but not
we have us.
Physical age.
Yeah,
we're about it.
Yeah, we don't really qualify as adults, so
Kent's here.
But before we wrap, and I know it's getting 8:00, and I'm not saying we should, but we should mention Roy because he always.
Okay, wait, yeah, I have two things. Thing one is I'm gonna put on our Sci-Fi Distilled page a bunch of, because when Rizzo and I were talking about, okay, what movies do we want to do for Halloween? There's like 1 million of them, like legitimately 1 million of them. We can't do them all. We're only got 4 weeks, so we got 4 episodes. So I'm gonna put it on our page. Kind of, I want to hear what you guys like. So I'm gonna put, hey, what's your best? I don't know, witches, best ghosts, best vampire, best UFO aliens, best fun family night, whatever. I'll put a whole slew of them, and you don't have to answer every single one. Just whichever ones jump out at you. I want to hear what movies you guys like for Halloween. Now, Roy has some great episodes coming up. So this Friday, and Roy, correct me if I'm wrong, but I actually think I know what's going on this time. This Friday, they're going to try Trilogy of Terror Take 2, because last Friday, for some reason, Facebook was not being cooperative. So Roy and Ross are going to try Trilogy of Terror.
You have to do that whenever
with the Zuni voodoo doll, or the Zuni doll, or whatever.
You got to do that.
On Sunday, he is doing a really great film. He is doing Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and that is a fantastic Halloween movie.
Donald Sutherland?
The older one.
1960, whatever.
Oh, the older one.
Yes. The original, because Roy does the old stuff. So yeah.
Oh, right.
Well, no, the other one was in the 70s, I think, wasn't it?
But they remade it in the
80s.
Maybe I should look this up really quick. I know they remade it maybe in the 80s. Yeah.
Maybe it's 80s.
Yeah.
Donald Sutherland was in the 70s. I know it.
Okay, I don't remember. But anyway.
So 2 great movies coming up on Roy's Tie-Dye Sci-Fi.
Nice.
Right. And next week, we are off to the Winchester. We are doing Shaun of the Dead. With
Nice.
Playfair will be
You
back.
know what? Shaun of the Dead, and did you guys see World's End?
Yes.
That's another really good one, right in the same
Yeah, that one
vein.
wasn't as commercially successful as Shaun of the Dead. Although
it should have been. It was
Shaun of the
great.
Dead has become more of a cult film, of course.
Yeah,
but,
Shaun of the Dead is more of a cult.
and then Hot Fuzz is actually pretty good too. Which is these are all.
Oh, Roy's just saying, yeah, Donald Sutherland. They're doing the second one, Donald Sutherland.
Oh, they're doing the Donald Sutherland. So
Anyway, okay.
Nice.
Anyway, yeah, so good to know. We will tune
Have
into
you ever
that.
left
So yeah,
sideways while firing both guns simultaneously?
is that from Shaun of the Dead?
No, it's from Hot Fuzz.
Oh, Hot Fuzz. Yeah, I've only saw that once, but it is good. But Shaun of the Dead will be next week with Bruce Playfair.
With Bruce, yep.
And
then we don't know which days are going to be which, but
yeah,
coming up,
you guys have probably seen we're going to do Clue.
we're going to do Clue and Underworld. And yes, and then, yeah, so this is our Halloween month, so we're going to do all nice spooky movies. And then hopefully, fingers crossed, on Friday the 30th, if it all works out well, we will be on Roy's Tie-Dye Sci-Fi first to do Young Frankenstein, and then we're going to have a little costume party. So we hope you'll join us for that. So yeah.
One of my top 5 movies of all time.
Martin says, don't forget your cricket bat. When fighting zombies across the pond, yes, you do need a cricket bat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is what Patrick Stewart. Have you guys seen the Patrick Stewart Mark Hamill ad?
Yes.
That's Patrick has a cricket bat and Mark has a bat. Like, why? Why do you guys?
They're gonna rumble.
They're gonna rumble, I guess. I don't know.
And then they realize that I don't know. It's a weird ad. It's cool that they put them together, but I don't really care for the ad itself. Like I think it's awesome that they put those.
I love them together. You're right. I didn't like the writing in the ad.
I think they could have done something.
I think they could have done better. Yeah.
The whole Star Wars.
Roy, I completely agree. Roy is saying tomorrow night they're doing an October preview. Yes. Roy, I want to know if you're doing Rocky Horror Picture Show, because I may steal it from you. It's one of my all-time favorites. Love that movie.
Let's do the time warp.
I quote every minute of that movie.
Talk about an adult themes. That one would have warnings at the top of the show.
Well,
that's not a kid.
We're waiting in anticipation.
Say it. Say it.
Say it. We could do it and then do all the things that the audiences do during.
If anybody has never gone to a midnight showing of Rocky Horror, you really have to experience.
You haven't lived until you've had rice thrown at you and you had a water pistol and all that.
Yep.
It's quite the scene. People that really need to move out of their parents' basement and kiss a girl.
It's just, you know why? Because the costume, like, it's so easy to get dressed up for that thing. It's like such a Halloween.
I mean, actually, one of the funniest. There was. You remember the Drew Carey show?
I remember them doing Rocky Horror and Drew Carey.
They were doing a thing where they're dressing up and going to Rocky Horror.
Yeah.
And then around comes the
corner.
And
Dietrich Bader was like in.
Oh, Mimi, remember his nemesis, the woman that had the fat woman that had all the makeup.
Always wore the ring.
And they're all dressed up as Priscilla, the Queen of the Desert. So they start doing
that's right.
Forth between.
I remember that.
By the way, if you've never seen Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, I will recommend that movie. It is hysterical. It's Australian, and it is very, very funny movie.
Terrence, what's his name?
Zod. General Zod is in that as
a cross-dresser.
One of the girls, yeah.
It's a really, really, really funny movie. It's good. It's definitely some 70s disco, if you like that sort of thing. I will admit I actually have the soundtrack for that movie because
nice.
Roy's saying that Roy's saying we'll do a crossover for Rocky Horror next year. Okay, we gotta wait.
We gotta wait a whole year. Oh,
whole year? No, Roy, come on. But it is a Halloween movie. Well, it's not Halloween, but somehow it's become a Halloween movie.
I know around here, I think the local, I don't know if they're
it only runs in the theaters around Halloween.
They used to run it, it used to run pretty regular. I remember back in the 80s.
A lot of college towns have it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of through the summer they may have it. Yeah.
Yeah, they used to run it every Saturday night at midnight, one of the theaters I remember near my hometown. But around here they do it. They actually advertise now. Again, with COVID, everything being shut down. I don't think they're gonna do it, but
Great Scott.
No, not Great Scott. Dr. Scott.
No.
Brad, Janet. Oh, Martin's saying Great
Brad, Janet.
Because you know why, right? Because we're gonna do Clue, which is obviously Tim Curry.
Yeah.
Beautiful Tim Curry. So we thought, well, hey, if we're gonna do Tim Curry, let's just make a night out of it. But hey.
Yeah, Clue.
What a masterful actor. I just and
he is amazing.
And ballsy. I mean, he's done stuff that nobody would have considered.
Rocky Horror put a damper on his career because he played that transsexual.
Right. Yeah, but then he came back. We could almost do a Tim Curry month. Rizzo suggested, hey, why don't we do a Johnny Depp month? I would love to do like just because my favorite topic is UFO and aliens. I would love to do a UFO and aliens month.
Guys, let us know if that's something you guys want to do. Because I was thinking,
if you want us to do more themes.
For Johnny Depp, you could do Ed Wood. You could do
Ed Wood. You could do Edward
Scissorhands. What was the other one I had?
He gets dressed up in like every single movie.
Yeah, I mean, you could do.
Edward Scissorhands.
What was the other one? Was Pirates of the Caribbean. There was more though. There was another one I had said which is really good.
Yeah, you did. Edward Pirates. Oh, you had said Pirates, and I was like, it's not sci-fi, but you're like, yeah, but all the effects. There are tons of effects.
Yeah, but it had a supernatural.
Willy Wonka?
Well,
no, not Willy Wonka.
Better ones.
Oh, Headless Horseman.
Yeah.
Oh, Ichabod Crane. Ichabod Crane. Yeah. We could do absolutely. I want to do the Mothman prophecies. I love that. Like, there's so many. That's why I'm gonna do the little quiz over on the page. I'm gonna say best this. You guys answer because there are so many good movies out there, and Halloween is not enough.
Feel free
Halloween
to
is
post
not
here,
enough time.
post on our page, whatever you guys want to see. If there's a movie you think that we should do, a TV show.
Always.
We've been doing a lot of movies, but we also do TV shows.
We'll always take a rec. Yep.
Sweeney Todd's another.
You know, we said we would do, and then we never did. We haven't done a TV show since like Babylon. No, we did another TV show.
Stargate, maybe.
Maybe Stargate. Yeah.
Airwolf. Let's do Airwolf.
That's not.
Let's do an Airwolf Blue Thunder compare and contrast.
Yeah.
I love Blue Thunder. Well, I like Roy Scheider, so.
Yeah, I used to like Jan Michael Vincent, so I was more of a.
I honestly, I hate to say it, I never watched Airwolf.
Yeah, they were both on the same. Like it wasn't
Didn't really do it. I don't know. I didn't have an interest.
Just think of Knight Rider or.
I didn't like Knight Rider either. I thought that was
Knight Rider. Oh, I loved Knight Rider. Oh my God, David Hasselhoff back in the day.
tough. You know, he actually.
You know what? And that again,
he played Nick Fury in a very early version of the Avengers.
Did he really?
Yep, and badly.
What did that look like?
That was horrible.
Wasn't good.
They only made it because they needed to make something to hold on to the rights. They had a movie deal, and they said, if you don't make this movie, we're taking the rights back. So they threw the bare minimum dollars at it that they could. Captain America's shield was transparent. It was like a fiberglass or a plexiglass. I mean, it was horrible. And yeah, he played Fury.
Roy is recommending Sequest.
Yeah, because we talked about Roy Scheider.
That's certainly, we could think about Sequest and the horrible
I like Sequest.
missed opportunity. I think that show.
Yeah, but
they had a dolphin. They had whiskers. Remember whiskers and the things.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, no, the show had potential. I just think they boogered it. And Roy,
and then
Scheider,
that poor kid. What was his name? Jonathan Brandeis. That poor kid.
Roy Scheider never liked the concept. From what I understand, he just thought.
Well, it was no Jaws. There was not enough shark in it.
Yeah, he just did it because for the money. He thought the show was the stupidest thing ever. I think. But yeah, season 2 they went off the rails and it really got weird.
It got weird. Yeah.
Michael Ironside, always weird.
Yeah.
I love Michael Ironside. He's awesome at everything. The old V.
Oh yes,
from the 80s. Yeah, the miniseries.
Awesome in every single thing he does, including Top Gun.
Negative.
Oh, Jester. No, Jester was the other guy. He was
from Alien.
No.
She's
Top
talking
Gun.
about Top Gun. What was his call sign?
What was his call sign?
Oh, he was
not Jester.
Viper.
Viper.
Viper. Yeah.
Viper. I always get mixed up.
I just remember going, Chester's here. Yay!
Another great movie, not sci-fi.
Another great movie.
So I will argue
which the reboot has been pushed.
Yeah, obviously.
Ironside made a horrible movie of which we shall not speak, but whose initials are Highlander 2.
Oh, really?
Now you're talking about that, but that is, remember, Dave Lafredo was saying he loved that movie.
Yeah, he defended that movie.
Quickening.
I'm sorry, Dave, you're incorrect.
Okay, Kent Dave, we need to have Kent and Dave on to duke it out. Highlander 2, yay
Highlander
or nay?
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever even seen it.
No,
I don't know if I have either.
I won't. That movie was never made, and none of us.
So we just went Highlander 3.
Well, the way Dave puts it is he's
or Highlander TV show.
The way Dave puts it is like you have to look at it as like a separate compartmentalized.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, it's not in the same continuity. No.
Which is kind of like modern Star Trek.
Yeah, Roy Scanners is a good movie too.
Scanners. There's a lot of good stuff that came out, that were.
In fact, you know what? I'm going to add Scanners.
It was a good, good Star Trek in that is Reanimator.
Yep.
Jeffrey Combs in that. I mean, he's like the quintessential Star Trek alien character. He's been and he's another one that's been in like every Star Trek except for the original, I think.
Yep.
Right, I have Rocky Horror on my list. I won't let it go. I won't let it go.
It's just a step to the left.
It's a step.
All right.
All right, kids.
Death, guys.
Thank you all so much for coming to do some ghost busting with us.
For joining us once again. We'll see you next week for Shaun of the Dead and with Bruce Playfair. Did Bruce join us tonight? I don't even think so.
I thought I saw
anyway, well, it'll be Bruce. So get your cricket ballot and head to the
ready for Halloween month, guys.
All right. Everybody stay safe. Mask up. Live long and prosper. All right.